Hi, everyone, and welcome back. All right, we have another amazing referral partner. Brendan is like my dude. All right, like we have been connected for longer than I can fucking think. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that there was a time when we were in utero together. Like, we are connected. I love this dude. So, Brendan, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here today.
Hey, honored. You're amazing. Your audience is amazing. So glad to rock and roll with you.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate the shit out of you, bro. Like, so, okay. So Brendan is bringing in this amazing free gift. So y'all remember, I always ask my referral partners to give something to you guys for free. He has an amazing free gift. So make sure to stay until the end because you're going to want this gift. You've got to stick into the end though to get that magic word. So stick around for the interview. Either way, he's gonna be dropping golden nuggets the entire fucking time. So you want to be here anyway. Don't miss anything. All right. So Brendan, tell everybody that we have in this audience like who you are, what you do, and why are you such a fucking genius? Because we all need to know.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for the intro. So yeah, Brendan McCauley, 37, live in South Florida. And so my gift is working with amazing coaches, speakers, trainers, consultants, people that just have a message to get to the masses. And Suzanne, it's funny, I find that they all say the same exact thing, right? So they want to show up to a room full of people, they want to change lives, get paid. That's it. They don't want to figure out the tech. They don't want to figure out the systems, the funnels, the pipelines. Like, how does all this work? So I love to geek out on that portion, and that's just really that's my gift to say, look, be in your zone of genius, change lives, health, wealth, relationships, whatever it is, and let me figure out the back end stuff. So then that way you create what I like to call your authority ecosystem, so you can show up whether it's on a podcast, whether it's you're launching a book, whether Oprah calls you on her show, and you can confidently say, hey, good, I'm going to get my message out there. And now you know that when people go to follow you, that you have a system that, and the biggest thing I find is usually there's like this devastating lead generation gap where all of a sudden you're putting all this noise out there, you're making all this content, you've got all business like, oh man, this person's awesome. They go to find you, and then all of a sudden within like 3 months, they forget who you are. And I just find that that happens time and time and time again. So yeah, that's what I like to specialize in, and I can deep dive into anything in particular that is helpful.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, honestly, you are not wrong. And we live in this crowded freaking world, especially in the coach consultant space. It is crowded as fuck here, right? Like we're dealing with a market that is heavily,
Hmm.
heavily, heavily saturated with coaches and consultants. So
Yeah.
if you're not doing something to set yourself apart, you're kind of just like, in the loop with everybody else. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah. It's like, how do you stand out? And then more importantly, how do people actually remember you? Because how many times have you done this? And I know I've done this. I'll talk to somebody, and then 3 months later, I'm like, oh my God, this person was so incredible at what they did. Who were they? And I'm even asking myself, like, man, I wish they would come and like just put something in front of me, like sell me your shit, because I remember it was so good, but it's out of sight, out of mind. So it's like, how do you not only capture them, but then how do you bring them in? How do you nurture them? How do you naturally send them to want to work with you? And then become that raving client where they want to just do nothing but share who you are with their friends, bring in more people, and then grow this beautiful community. And I tend to find that lacks with most people. And it's not because they intentionally do it, but they just like, I remember when I got my life coaching certification, like none of this was taught. It's like, hey, here's the skill set, you can do it. And then there was like one day I'm marketing, one day I'm maybe like setting your prices, but like that's all there is. And a lot of times these messages, we put them out there or you do it on a summit, and then it falls on deaf ears 3 months later, and they're going like, okay, well, who was this person? Like, no, you gotta be best known always beats best. And so like
Oh,
let's
yeah.
let's focus on that.
Oh God, 1,000,000%. I mean, more times than I care to think, I'll have coaches that are coming to me that are looking for strategy. And like the number one thing that they're doing is they're using the same pitches, they're saying the same things that everybody else is saying. And I'm just like, there's nothing about that, what you're talking about, that is setting you apart from anybody else that's doing the exact same thing from you. You
Mhm.
have to stand out and be different. So the one thing that I really love about what it is that you do is like, okay, so I'm gonna say this as it is, and y'all know me, y'all know I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna say what I believe. So I fucking despise bro marketing so much. And the thing that I love about what you do is you don't touch bro marketing. Am I right?
Yeah, we try and just make it from your voice, your perspective, your message, and then it becomes just message to market match. So yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, and 100%. Like this is exactly why like we connect so well on this because it's got to be about you. It has to be about the uniqueness that you bring to the table. And like, with you focusing on that, that's well, obviously what I focus on with people when it comes to their marketing and their sales and their processes and their PR and all of those things. And when it comes to their operations, like their
Mhm.
operations have to support their voice. So, when you're talking about like putting together these systems and the strategies, it's not like cookie cutter bullshit. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think there's certain systems and strategies and concepts that work with your message and the way that you want to deliver it and your tone, your style. And then how do you implement the two of those and even be aware of like, okay, here's all the actual possibilities, and it's funny because we're in the middle of a summit right now and there's some absolutely incredible speakers. And when I go and I look behind the scenes, it's like there's so many, it's the small things, but the small things are the big things. And it's like just this one little tidbit, if you add just this little bit in this little different way, how many more leads you could get. And it's not just the leads, it's not just the cash flow. It's like someone's life could potentially be touched because you chose to take one extra step. So that way you can follow up and the fortunes in the follow up and like how many lives you can change. And there's a lot of people have big visions and they want to do like massive things in the world. Well, I remember there was a book I read, I think it was Atomic Habits. They said you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So,
Yep.
we can have best intentions, but we wind up being the bottleneck. And unless, just like you were saying right before this call, like you now have a team that can support you in this and they can do the build outs and they can do all these other things. So now you can just be where you need to and then let them handle the rest, which I think is awesome.
Exactly, exactly. Like I say, like, there's a big difference between being an employee of your business or being the business owner. And
Mhm.
most people treat themselves as an employee, right? Like, but not even just like an employee. You're like the shitty fucking boss that no employee wants, and that's how you treat yourself. So you're not taking vacations, you're not taking downtime, and you're not taking the time that you need to even rest or recuperate because your
Mhm.
systems aren't in place. When your systems are in place, you can take those breaks and it's like no one would ever know. No one would ever know, right? Like, I mean, I have a client right now that she took off 30 days, just vacation for 30 days. And no one knew she was gone because her systems were set up for her, right?
Yeah.
So, like, talk a little bit about the power of having systems set up for you and like why that's so imperative.
Yeah. So actually, I have a diagram that's sitting right in front of me. You mind if I share my screen and we
Oh,
can
please,
go through it?
absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. So I don't think, yeah, we haven't actually shared this since we've talked. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, damn. You know what? This
Okay.
is this is why I love you. You create stuff that's sexy as shit. Like I love
Thank
this.
you.
That's amazing.
So you know me, like I like to reverse engineer things that work and say, okay, like let's break it down to the fundamentals and say, okay, great, they're doing this.
Hmm.
Step one, step two, step three. And so when I looked at the individuals that are truly successful, from a coaching, consulting, speaking perspective, this is what I came up with, what I like to call your authority ecosystem. And so part of the gift I'm going to give you guys is how do you actually take everything I'm showing you and implementing it, like one piece at a time. So Suzanne, the way I broke this up is into two pieces. So this top part, this is the online presence. And again, this is not, you don't have to have everything, but this is just kind of like, I think, a good check-in to say, okay, well, what am I doing in which bucket and how am I making noise, right? Because you got to make noise. And I think a lot of times people are even so scared to get out there for fear of maybe lack of clarity, for fear of judgment, like whatever that is, you have to be visible. You have to be found in some form or fashion. And so if I were to say, okay, at bare minimum, what does that look like? Okay, well, maybe are you doing social media outreach? Okay, what does that look like? Are you doing direct messaging? Are you leveraging promotional partners? Are you doing content marketing? Maybe you're becoming a best-selling author. Maybe you have a podcast, maybe YouTube, maybe you're cross-promoting all these pieces. Maybe you're doing online events, which is awesome. Maybe you're doing masterclasses, challenges, in-person networking. Maybe you're throwing workshops. That's great. So now the question is, now that you've done all this, do you have the supporting systems and where does all of this flow? So you got all these eyeballs and where do they go? And so that essentially comes into the second piece on the bottom, which is what I like to call your supporting systems, where at bare minimum, and I'll just kind of walk through this. And I think it's a really good roadmap for people to say, okay, do I have these pieces to be able to collect the information, to nurture them, and to ideally enroll them into what I'm doing? And so I would say start with an authority site. And just the easiest way I break that down is like when I go there, I want to know I help this person achieve this goal in this time period. If that's you and you want to move forward, here's what the next steps are. So, from there, do you have some maybe type of assessment where I can say, awesome, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you at? Where are you trying to get to? What does that look like? And then some type of next steps. Maybe it's book a call. Maybe it's, hey, we have an event, so on and so forth. And then do you also have a way to basically give free value right at the very beginning? And can you capture their information? And then more importantly, once you've got their information, how do you stay front of mind? And different ways to do it, but at bare minimum, maybe some type of email nurture sequence. to be able to follow up and stay in their face, whether it's, 30 days, 16 and 90 days, maybe even up towards a year. And then probably one of the biggest pieces that I see a lot of people miss, and I remember I got this from an event when I was listening to, like, guys, do you know what the biggest difference between people that crush it and the people that flop? And they said the community aspect of it. Like, do you have your avid group of followers that love what you do, that you can nurture, that you can give free value, you can give trainings? And Suzanne, you are awesome at this, because I see you'll pop on, you're like, hey guys, cool, we're going to talk about this. And so many people love to just, take your value to implement it. And that's why they trust you. And that's why they refer you. And that's why they recommend you. And then having clarity to say, awesome, I help you achieve this one thing. I'm the best at this. And here's the ways in which we can work together. So you have your high tier, you have your mid tier, your low tier. And then the second piece I find most people miss is some type of monthly recurring. So it's not just like hey, it's a one and done. And like now I have to hunt for my next XYZ client. It's can I actually bring them in there and then provide value on a consistent basis where they'll pay me consistently. And then the final piece is having maybe some way to be able to give back, because people love to work with others that have, bigger goals and want to help other individuals. So I think that's really just a basic roadmap that when we break it down, I love to help from the system side and the implementation side to say, cool, like let's actually craft this so you can confidently get your message out there. But yeah, anyway, so that's what it looks like, just from my opinion, and 10 years of a lot of do this, don't do this, and trial and error.
Oh God, I love it. I love it. And honestly, like, we this is why we connect so well, because like we collaborate on a lot of these projects where it's like, I'm bringing clients in and we're talking about all of those things, and it's like we frame those things out and pass them over to you and say, here's the stuff, and
Mhm.
here's how, like, you do the implementation. Here's all the stuff, because you're right. I mean, but the thing that I really love about, if you're looking at that system, for everyone that's looking at that system, if you're watching it, you're noticing that he does exactly what I do when it comes to, there's different opportunities. Like, you don't have to do this cookie cutter bullshit. You need to go based off of what are the things that are like this that make sense for you and for your brand and for your brand voice and for your company and your comfort level, to make sure that like you never feel like you're fucking working, right? And then utilizing that in the systems. Like, this is like, it's fucking pure gold what you're sharing here, right? This is amazing. I love this. But I do have to ask something. What the fuck is the soap opera sequence? Because listen, that caught my attention.
Yeah, so that one I got from, if there's any Russell Brunson fans. So he's got his soap opera, then he's got his Seinfeld. So it's the concept of the soap opera is basically you have some type of hook at the end. So it's anywhere between that 5 to 6 email sequence, where you capture their attention. You sort of take them through this little mini hero's journey of, hey, I know who you are. This is my story. This is my up, this is my down, this is my epiphany. This is how it's really that initial connection between myself and you over the course of 5 to 6 emails. And at the end of each email, it kind of leaves you with a hook of like, hey, this is where I was at. Tomorrow, I'll tell you exactly, what the way I was able to solve this or what I was able to achieve, or like the aha moment that I had. It builds up that know, like, and trust. And now I've got an individual that's getting used to receiving communication from me in some form or fashion, and potentially even taking action. It's like, hey, here's the thing I learned. I put all my best nuggets of wisdom into this PDF checklist. Click on that to download for free value. So now I'm starting to build that relationship. And then the Seinfeld is just like a regular Seinfeld episode. It's just like, hey, in this one email, here's like a random one-off. We're going to talk about these things, and then essentially you move to the next piece. So that's the general gist of it.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that. So it's more of like authority building. It's more of connection. It's more of like creating that relationship without actually having to be in conversation all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so like, I love what it is that you're doing here. So like, let me ask you something. Like, when a coach comes to you and they're just like, hey, listen, like, I'm stuck, or, I really want to grow my coaching organization. I really want to be able to have all these big, wonderful things inside of my business, but I don't know what the hell I need. What is it that you should tell them to say, like, okay, if you're ready to start like doing this stuff, what should they be prepared for in that initial call with you? Besides, like,
Yeah.
the brain unfucking that you do on your side, because like I do it on my side, you do it on your side. So besides that, like, what should they expect out of that call?
Yeah, I think really getting Chris, it all comes down to clarity. And I probably say 3 words. It's end in mind. And anything that we're looking at here, it always comes down to the first conversation we're going to have is like, all right, not just 6 months from now. Let's go 1 year, let's go 5 years, let's go 10 years. Like, what do you want to achieve? And like, why is that so important to you? Do you just want to do this as a side hobby, extra, maybe a grand or 1,500 a month? Awesome. Do you want to change 1 million lives? That's a very different goal. well, I'll just say, this roadmap is the intention of, hey, whatever level you want to play at, however big in size you want to go, we need to first figure out what does that look like, and then we craft something to build it. Versus where I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make, especially when it comes to any kind of supporting system or things behind the scenes, is they don't really know where to start. They don't have a particular end goal in mind. And then they just kind of create this hodgepodge of throwing everything in there. And then it's just sort of like this jumbled mess and a whole bunch of pieces that get super glued together. And it's like there's not a lot of clarity. So I'm very much a less is more, simple scales. And let's just start on the one piece and say, okay, awesome. Based on that. And this is what I even just told them yesterday on the event, is like, go through the client's journey as if I were looking at you for the first time. And if I came to your social media, and if I went to LinkedIn, and if I clicked on contact info, what would I see? What would that look like? Like, would you send me to a site that's totally clear where I can take the next steps, that I can understand, great, these are the events they have coming up. Here's a community. Here's how I can support them. This is exactly the result they get. Here's exactly the problems that they solved. They have, value for me. And I would just say, like, awesome. And if you're clear on all those things, beautiful. Do you have the systems, the tech, the tools in place to be able to facilitate that? And if you don't, do we need a little bit more clarity? Are you clear on your offer? Do you know exactly the message you want to have? And I think once the clarity portion is down, so the way I'll make this really simple. So I call it the authority protocol, and it's just 3 specific steps: synergy, systems, scalability. Synergy,
Okay.
complete clarity from start to finish on exactly what it is you're looking to pay. 2 is the systems piece. So, like, do you actually have those systems to be able to support you? And then scalability, great. Once that's in there, now you know who you're talking to, how you're talking to them. You have the pieces that support you. Now you can delegate. Now you can be in your zone of genius. And if you knock all 3 of those out, then I think that's when you can really just show up, be the best version of yourself.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So, okay. So basically what you're doing is you're letting them come into this call with, like, their big vision in head and brain, and they're just like, okay, I'm ready to do all of the big things. So, people come to us in a very similar space, right? When people are coming to me, they're in the same space of like, I want to build my empire. I want the big things out of my business. I want my
Mhm.
actual business, not my job. I want to actually scale this. I want to grow this. I want to do all of these things. So, I love the fact that, like, you're in there and you're working on those systems, because I have my team and everything like that. But when it comes to like this type of strategic build out, like, you're the dude for it. Like, you're the person that like understands the strategy behind the building of the actual systems, because that's not easy. Anybody can say like, oh, I know how to build these things. I can build these things myself, no problem. But it comes down to something different when you have a strategy behind it.
Yeah.
So, when people are looking for like a systems builder, they're looking for someone to build their systems inside of high level, there's got to be more than just the fact that they can build a system inside of high level. There's got to be that like the strategy behind it. It can't just be this like modge podge mess like you're talking about. It has to have purpose. So a lot of
Mhm.
what like I talk to my clients about is, everything that you're doing always has to be, it's not about your business right now. It's about your business in 10 years. We have to talk about that. We're talking about your empire. We're talking about your legacy. We're talking about, do you want to sell your business in 10 years? Do you want to scale it to the point that it can be sold, which means your systems have to support that? Do you want to
Right.
be able to leave it to your kids? Do you want to sell? Do you want to have the business downsized to somebody else inside of the company? Then all your systems, all that structure needs to be set up to allow that to happen. And the longer you wait to do that, the harder it becomes. Am I right?
Mhm. Yeah. And people have asked me before, it's like, okay, well, when's a good time to implement this? And
Immediately.
I mean, yeah, yesterday. And it's like, I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care if you're, 10 years and you're seasoned in the game. If you're brand new, awesome. Like, now you're literally coming in with a really solid foundation to be able to build upon. So then as you grow, I think it gets even harder the more advanced you are, because then I'm not going to say, and again, it's not intentional. It wasn't like malpractice behind it. It wasn't, like anything bad they purposely did, but it's just like there wasn't a solid foundation on which to stand. So now it's almost to the point of, okay, like, let's peel it back. And then maybe it's more taking away and then being able to say, okay, great. Now we've moved all the old furniture out of the house. Let's put it back with like the new nice furniture. So then when you show up and you have a presentation, it totally is a clear representation of you and how you want to be perceived to your audience. And then to walk them through that client journey. And it's funny too, because like the more advanced I see some individuals, like the more of a dumpster fire the back end tends to look like. And it's just like, okay, like, I don't know why this is doing this. This is not happening. Just general frustrations that, in my opinion, it becomes a very simple who, not how. And it's
Yeah.
like, why, if your expertise is changing somebody's like, relationship or their financial status, why are you trying to play tech guru CRM like on the backside? So, yeah, biggest thing investing I've ever done is invest in someone that's just way better at something than I was. And I would tell the same thing to somebody is like, okay, well, I know I need those things. Cool. Stop trying to do it yourself. And even if it's not me, like Suzanne, you guys have incredible services. Just find somebody that can do these things for you. So you're not beating
Yeah.
yourself, like with a stick. It's like, oh, like this is so terrible. I see it's like almost every coach, speaker, trainer, they look at tech and it's like deer in headlights. And it's like, oh my God, I want to shoot myself. And I hear it every day. And it's,
Yeah.
like there's a much easier way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. But this is the reason why I like to collaborate with you is because like when people are coming to me and they need that like big thing, like, they're coming to me and I mean, I've had conversations with the coaches that I'm just like, okay, so what's the CRM system that you're using? And they're like, I'm sorry, the what now? I'm like, okay, all right. So we're going to start there. Or, I think this is the system that we use. Or we have 9 systems or we have multiple systems. I'm just like, okay. I'm like, so right now, the money that you have coming in is like hemorrhaging out to all of this stuff that's working against each other, right? So it's like you got to look at like the purpose behind building a system, one system that like kind of can do all the things for you is because not only is it streamlined and simplified where you could just log into one place and like all your shit's in one place, but also
Mhm.
the fact is that it's easier to find your breaks. It's easier to find when there's something not working because now it's all in one place. You can actually like, diagnose it a lot easier. Another reason is you're cutting costs, right? Like you're
Yeah.
dramatically saving on so much money. I mean, I've seen thousands and thousands of dollars being put out into systems that people don't even remember that they still have.
Yeah.
They get into these things and we forget, right? So I think that what it is that you're doing here, and obviously, like, we collaborate a lot and we're going to continue to collaborate. And, people are coming to me for services like, they need help in the strategies and all of that type of stuff. And they're like, okay, so like I need someone to just come up with like my system strategy. I'm just like, B is your dude. Okay. Like you got to go talk to B because like I'm not going to come up with your system strategy, but like he knows the system strategy. That's what he does. That's what he's known for. And like that's like your whole area, right? Because
Mhm.
that's I know where I don't want to work. I know where I do want to work. And strategy lights me up all fucking day. But when it comes to building out these systems, I'm like, Brendan, make it do the thing that it's supposed to fucking do. Like, I don't want to, right? Like, we know, like, when you're in that coaching space, you want to be able to just show up and coach. And you're giving people that ability, which I absolutely love here. So, let's talk a little bit about this free gift because, like, that presentation was freaking cool. So, like, tell us more about this free gift that you have for everyone that's listening here.
Yeah, and so that roadmap that we were just kind of going over, like, awesome. Let's take you by the hand and actually like give you a breakdown. So it's called a specific blueprint to literally like
Mhm.
walk you through and say, great, if we want to build this house, what is that blueprint? What is the schematics? So I went through and I literally took every single thing that I essentially would do as I'm working with an individual, put it into a PDF and said, okay, cool, piece by piece, like go through here, internal checklist. Do I have it? And if I don't, how do I implement it? And so I just want to make this as simple as possible to say, like, at bare minimum, I'll put it this way, if I had known this 10 years ago, it probably would have been a very different story. So a lot of
Yeah.
this was through, trials, tribulations, just, marketing events I've gone to, books that I've read, and said, okay, can I put this all into just one very specific, easy, just boom, 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 boom. And that was the entire intention behind it. So,
Yeah.
this is literally everything I would do with somebody, even if it was a done for you style client, that I'm like, all right, let me at least take the concept, put it on here. So, if somebody just wants to try and do it themselves, maybe they're not in a financial position to be able to take that on. This at least gives you a really good roadmap to do more like a self audit and just evaluate yourself, evaluate your business, look on there and say, awesome, I need to create my soap opera sequence. What does that sound like? I need to do my Seinfeld. I need to create my authority page. I need to have, these certain pillars. Awesome. Read that, implement it, and that will, in my opinion, I think take people way further than just trying to go onto like YouTube University and just trying to figure out certain concepts.
Completely agreed because although there are some good things that you can learn on YouTube, like
For sure.
like tying a tie and changing your oil and doing all of that kind of stuff. The one thing that I've noticed that on YouTube, unfortunately, you have no idea the credentials of the people that are telling you to do shit in your business, and that's terrifying, right? Because you don't know about their processes, you don't know about how long they've been in business, you don't know about how successful their business is. You're basically just going based off of what people are telling you, like, oh, this will work for you. It's like might not, right?
Maybe.
So it's great to have it be something where it's very dedicated to each person. So All right, everybody. So this is an amazing free gift, and let me tell you something. Like this is definitely something that you're going to want. If you're not sure about what's going on in your systems, like this is definitely something you need to look at. You need to see all of these aspects. So the magic word that you have to drop inside of the comments is going to be authority. So drop the comment authority in the comments below, and Brendan and his team are going to be reaching out to you and getting you that free gift. And I mean, honestly, this gift is amazing. Like, I mean, I'm gonna sign up for this gift and make sure that like, you know, my shit's in order. I know my shit's in order for the most part because you handle most of my shit, but like still, I'm just gonna check it just to be on the safe side. So guys, remember again, authority. Drop the word authority in the comments below, and Brendan and his team are gonna be reaching out to you. So thank you so much again, Brendan. Is there anything that you feel like you need to leave everybody with that they should definitely know before we sign off here today?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and every single time I show this roadmap, this ecosystem, I get a lot of like, I think the word is overwhelm, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, where do I start? So I think my biggest recommendation is just start with a general understanding of the concept. Just look at it and say, okay, I'm not going to put any energy, no effort into it. Just but from a 30,000 foot view, how does this work? How does it make sense? And then the way I would do it is I would attack it as just one little bit at a time. And I would go in as I would just pick one and say, okay, based on this, do I hit these check boxes? And then how can I make it better? And just put it on a roadmap and say, all right, tomorrow I'm just going to do a little bit, whether it's on your site, whether it's on an event that you're going to run, whether it's on the emails that you're sending out to follow up with individuals, whether it's your social presence, and just making sure that your banner makes sense. And that I just went to somebody's link yesterday and I clicked on it. It didn't work. So, you know, just things of that nature, those small little pieces, just talks a lot about you. So small little incremental bites, small little bits of progress. And if you have the ability, work with somebody that just, this is what they do, because I think it will get you so much further, so much farther. That'd be my suggestion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, definitely take this advice, everybody. And remember, the word is authority. Drop it in the comments below, and Brendan and his team are going to be reaching out to you. Thank you so much again, Brendan. Really appreciate having you.
Hey, I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting with everybody.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.